To discuss advances in drone technology, I was joined by Brian Whiteside. He's president of VDOS Global, which focuses on commercial applications for unmanned technology. He's also a former U.S. Navy jet pilot.
The applications are pretty widespread, and the more people use it, the more we find a need for what we're doing. Our company, for example, VDOS, we do a lot of work in the energy sector. So we work with major oil and gas providers, and we do inspections for what they call at-height inspections. So anything where you would put a person at risk at a high location, we find the drone can get up there very cheaply and cost effectively and without the risk. But we know the insurance market is getting ready to explode in doing insurance adjustment and roof inspections, real estate, across the board, pretty much where people are finding a need for looking at things externally, they're looking at drones as a pretty significant solution.
There's a new movie out with Helen Mirren in it talking about drones, and one probably wouldn't have imagined that, 10, 15 years ago. How does that recalibrate the conversation? Does it get people talking about drones, you think?
Everybody's talking about drones these days. It's amazing. And, the world shifted a few years ago when Amazon announced that they were going to do deliveries by drone. And when that happened, everyone sort of woke up to the future and the possibility of what this technology means. We've seen DHL, FedEx, Amazon, Google are all getting into the delivery business. We're seeing people creating food service companies where they're delivering food by drones.
Talk to me about China's drone consumer market, and that's got to be quite a market to tap into, I would assume.
Yeah, China's been doing amazing things in the market these days. We're very impressed. The technology coming out of China keeps getting better. They're being very aggressive on the competitive state, so they're constantly improving the technology. We've got the market leader, which I think is still DJI. But we're seeing now more and more companies like Unique and others that are coming into the market, which is good for us all as users because it brings the product up and it makes the price more competitive. But across the world, from a user standpoint, China is clearly going to be a big market for this, just from the sheer population size and scale of China as a country as a whole.
Drone regulations, are they in place? Are they all over the place when you look at the worldwide landscape?
The FAA has been the most restrictive, and we find that around the world, more countries are less restrictive than the FAA, but we are all held under pretty much the ICAO standards, International Civil Aviation Operations Standards, and that's really where we tailor our operations as a company. But that's what we're seeing around the world, is that people are trying to understand the technology, formulate some sort of industry regulatory environment to make it safe, but there's a huge difference from country to country on what the rules are.
Is there a huge difference in terms of training as you go from country to country?
There is. For example, in Australia, where we hold a CASA certification, which is their version of our FAA, but their aviation authority, we're actually certified to train people. So we've trained over 1,000 pilots in Australia that have been certified by CASA. I think if we look at the numbers, we probably have trained more pilots than any other company in the world on the commercial sector. In the US, it doesn't look like there's going to be a certification need. But what we always see, regardless of where you are in what country, separate from what the governments create, you still need to have good safety practices and operations practices.
Is there enough space in space for all these drones and current aviation?
I think we will find that the technology gets used quite a bit, but the idea of the swarms in our skies, I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. I think we'll see radical change in the way people use the technology and feel about the technology, but the concept of us losing out to a crowded airspace, I don't think is going to happen quickly.
Again, that was Brian Whiteside, president of VDOS Global.
If you like what you just saw, follow us on social media and visit our website, cctv-america.com.